Hello. I am here. Let's see if this road still works. Hey, frame rate. Okay, I wanted to test something with some large ships in here, which probably was a mistake, because we have 3 vanitors here. Acclimators actually. Hello. I am here. Let's see if this road still works. Hey, frame rate. Let's turn off the echo. Okay, I wanted to test something with, because we have 3. Click. So let's get those out of the way first. You see I have 3 versions on top. And here we have something that is... Oh, wait. Yeah, I made a fighter. Shaq was complaining that the acclimators were too large, so I thought, well, let's give him what he's worth. You can hear me soon, I hope. Is my audio correct? Let's use this one to go back to the other acclimators. So this is actually like a fully small ship build with connectors and all that. Some guns hidden there, and now we're gonna go to the other size. It sure is a baby one. It's really fun when you're like passing around and then like impending doom comes and then you notice it's just a small ship. But this one is slightly bigger, but not done in the slightest. This is a acclimator which is half size. So this is around the size that the Shaq is actually using. And I just compiled it from the full size acclimator I had a while back. So this means that the lower section, you see there's only one place for, well, a couple of fighters. You can land one of these in here, and probably the LAAT can go here too. And probably this is the size of Star Destroyers I will actually continue building, as they are easier to work with and don't take as much of your processing power. But that's of course not what was originally my plan. My original plan was the one over there, which is, well, the original one, let's say. I'm not gonna fly that half-size one because it doesn't have any engines connected in any way, shape or form. So traversing this distance, we see that our small ship is way out there. And now we're going to my rebuild of the first acclimator. I probably replaced every single block on this one with a new one, because some of the dimensions were off, although the lower paneling was kinda correct. I also did some weaponizing it. Here at the front you have 2 batteries of missile cannons, so that's 3 by 3. And then we have a forward hangar bay where we can actually fly our small acclimator in almost. It's a bit too wide, but you can see that this is nothing compared to the scale this actually one is. Let's go there. Thanks guys. Everything is going alright. So as you can see, I cleaned up a lot of the edges, replaced of course by the 2x1, and actually did some work on the interior. So you have some windows there, the middle section, cleaned up some of the cockpit area, although the whole bridge and stuff is not done yet. It's all like pre calculated out. And here we have a new platform that was not here yet. I looked back at the blueprints and saw that this is actually a flat section, which is actually some kind of hangar bay. So going in, we of course have, well, a pretty empty hull, and this should be the crew quarters. So these are decks filled where the crew would go. So that's all the way down to that level, and after that we have the main reactor, which will be this humongous thing. So those are our large reactors, and they should be like in this orb where the main reactor core is. Hello Ballad. Welcome guys, welcome to the stream. I can still say your individual names because there are not as much of you as there are on the Czech channel. So, hello Mark, Joxy, Felix and Joel. So this ship is also connected to large fuel tanks. So the acclimator actually has 7 or 8 orbs in front of the main reactor, where there should be like the large fuel compartments, which are around this size. And then you see inside I have a maintenance hatch, which goes to all these hydrogen tanks, which are quite a lot. So there's enough fuel for this ship to last for a while, and that's just one of the orbs. So there should be 8 of them right in this section, which I'm gonna do like when Space Engineers becomes better. The conveyors between the reactors, with the spacing, I'm actually going to stack some other reactors on top of this. So this was just me blocking out how much space I got, and seeing that I wanted to go round, I actually cut out a whole block before the end, so the next one goes right here instead of on top of this one. So that's why there are connectors there, or conveyors. Let's see. So the main deck, so the main hangar deck should be here. This is also where you should the LATs, LA-80s will be stored, and there should be some kind of hatch going down here, which I still have to block out and think about how I'm gonna do that. As the, well, let's say the hangar doors are not large enough. But the main deck, so is that level, and there's a bit on top. And actually this is not the top of the ship, but there's also another level on top, where there's still some crew compartments or some like systems of the ship to be put. Then we go towards the end of the ship. So we have a lot of conveyors here to store the uranium, because that's not stored in the actual fuel tanks. And we have our conveyors made out of large hydrogen tanks going towards inside the engine, where you can see I have hidden some thrusters to replicate the thrust and turn thruster is gonna give. So that's only the inside. So the outside is of course the other side. And to emulate the way that the outside thrusters give rotation, I of course added gyroscopes to them. So the outside thrusters actually do add rotation, but not the way it is. Let's see. And last thing, but not least, of course, the jump drive, which is not here. Jump drive is on top here. And our cooling base, so also some rotation here in the tail section. So this is where the cooling of the ship should be done in oxygen tanks, so that's just for that. And then all the way back here we have a large section filled with batteries and with jump drives. So the hyperdrive and the hyperspace is at the actual edge, the end of the tail. Let's cut a hole in it. And we go outside and we see we are at the back of the ship, where we have our nice engines lighting up. Saying lighting up though, they actually light up, but I have to press a button for that. And you see that the frame rate is still tanking of this build, so that's why I'm not gonna finish it anytime soon. Maybe with planets there's a new way of grids being done, but until then I'm just gonna turn on some lights. I think now we see the blue glow these engines are supposed to give, so that's just a visual effect, along with the overall like slope of the ramp. I added some extra detail also in this section where the clamps are for releasing the engines. I might implement that to be actually functional, so you can actually remove the engines entirely, but as of now it's just a visual feature. And then of course we have the ramps here, which are also just blocked out because I don't trust pistons or rotors or anything. And you might indeed need this to deal with your space bugs, Kala Anka. It is so the main hangar decks here, so these are where the troops are supposed to go, so they're right underneath the main reactor, and they're supposed to go with elevators, but probably I'll also add some ramps, probably again right here, or maybe going forward and then ending at the certain section where the hangar base start, which was around here. Like here we have probably the ATTE base, and that is where I will put them. Oh wait, I put that wall already there. So this is the end of the hangar, which is halfway this indentation of the ship. Let's go in spectator mode. Quickly go in and out of the ship. So the base should be ending around here. So that's also where I put the division wall. And then the front of the ship mostly has crew quarters and some hangars, but not much, because there's all space for these, for antennas and arrays and fuel and that kind of things. And yes, Koen, ik ben Nederlands. So yeah, so this acclimator is the same size as the one I published 1 year ago actually, and Shaq did a video on it. But now I went back to it and looked at the curves and the overall clean look of the ship, and I put these ramps in a order so that they actually look like they're a straight curve instead of like going random everywhere. And also this indentation is new. I really worked out how it should be like a bit lowered, as it is on some of the blueprints, and it really gives another like dimension to the size of the ship. It's just a whole panel lowered. But that's this one for now. Probably I will not work on it for a long time. I'll just keep it in my pocket for now. Maybe I'll upload it just after some video I do again on some machinima. But these ships just don't function yet in Space Engineers. So goodbye ship for now. And that's also why I built the half size and even the mini size. It's still loading. Yes, I want it to be stored, or actually just to be removed. So we go back to our half size, and probably this is what I want to aim for, as it is just enough space to fill some hangars or to go around with. You see, these engines are actually the small engines that were on the large ships, so they are actually just reskilled or like replaced. And now, so that's the project for now. Probably I can completely create the interior for this one, as this is quite limited. I can oversee this as something I can do within a few hours. But I first want to focus on some one-to-one scale ships. So let's say goodbye to this one as well. So our frame rate is back to normal, and we go back to the consular class ship with our character. Oh, our character, did you guys know, with control space, I believe, you spawn your character at the place you were with spectator. So as you see, I was at the acclimator, but now I'm back again here at the consular class ship and the LAAT. So let's go from large to small, shall we? Keeping the best thing for last, that this one is actually finished, so keep that for now. We take a look at this consular cruiser, which was of course in episode 1, the Phantom Menace, the original ship where Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn arrived on the blockade. And with it I thought, like, let's go for this as it was and also have some of the main features in it. And well, this actually isn't from KOTOR. Well, maybe it is, but that is because they put it in later. KOTOR 2, probably. So this is a diplomatic vessel, so the armament is very light. And as you can see, engines again hidden inside to not reveal anything of the ship to the outside, as Star Wars engines work differently than actual engines. But in this way you can still use thruster damage and still have a nice looking ship that only has a backward thrust going around. This ship has a really low lifetime though. See around Miller. It was directly shot down in the Phantom Menace, like a couple scenes in, but we see some iterations of it later on in Clone Wars and also in Revenge of the Sith, where these ships are sometimes seen on Coruscant or somewhere in the back, but it never played a major role anymore, other than when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were entering in Naboo's orbit. So let's close these doors, and I guess this section is the only section of the ship that I now have functional in a way that air stays in, as I used a lot of half blocks and all that kind of things, and other production blocks, and I'm not sure yet, because I have very low experience with oxygen, what lets out air or leaves it in. So we arrive now in the main hull section, where it should be divided in a few sections, so that's also something I have to do still. So there's not much here, just you see this is the outside hull of the ship, so probably this is why air is leaking out. And it's really dark, so light is still not done, and I'm working on that in a direct sense, to keep that in mind on my other ship. So let's see, we're almost at the front of the ship. This is the lower section where there's the meeting room. Right here, also very narrow. I still have to see how this interior is gonna work for me. But they're actually, like, on this, even if though this is a very, like, thin ship, it's only 5 blocks long, I still managed to get 2 decks in here. With 1 deck here and 1 deck below, where we just were. And I did that using, of course, these catwalks. And on top of them I can still use seats and lights and all that. So this is the top section of the ship where you can actually also walk around. And still no air. As you see, the air vents are red or orange in some cases. So this is still a work in progress, but the hull of the ship is done. Speaking of that, let's go to the main seat and let's fly it a bit. See how it handles. Shit, Sith jumps out of the shadows. Of course it does. Okay, that's also like, it's buggy because it's really hard to actually see these panels and get their hitbox right. It's probably because I have a LCD panel right next to me. It's a bug with the game where the hitboxes of interactables are obfuscated by flat objects. So now I have no problem. But if there was a catwalk or a LCD panel, it's hard. Alright. So we're in the cockpit now and we can see that this ship is functional and is quite maneuverable, but I want to keep it like balanced, so it almost goes the same way as the red ship, other than it's a lot faster, because this one has 3 engines instead of 2. And that's why it accelerates on a dime. Like, I haven't passed the LAAT yet and I'm already at max speed. Let's make sure we can find it back again. So let's turn. So there are no real moving parts on this ship, so it can handle anything. Oh boy, where's the LAAT? Oh, there it is. Little speck on the radar. Yeah, from episode 1 this was also one of my favorites. Alongside the big, like, 4-winged landers. Those were really interesting. Well, actually most of the droid ships were quite nicely designed. Even the tanks are, like, pretty special. I mean, overall, like, special effects, it was all about special effects. Like, the story's not there. Well, not there. Yeah, it's shite, okay. it's a spectacle, child's movie. But, like, the pod racers and the spaceships and some of the battles, the lightsaber fighting was all, like, reinvigorated. The first movies, George Lucas said that lightsabers were like broadswords and longswords, are heavy. So that's why in the first movies these sword battles are actually very slow and you always have to hold them with 2 hands. But later on they decided to take a more free approach and more a force using way of fighting. Kids move with politics. Yeah, that's a good description, Joxy. Giococci. I don't know. You're probably Italian or something. So yeah. So I don't hate it, but it's, yeah, of course, not the strongest way of doing things. George Lucas was wrong when he said that people were coming to Star Wars for the special effects and not really for the story. And he had some arguments about that with some of his fellow movie directors. and he actually had a big argument with one of them over how we should handle the new movies. So, sorry, man. So another feature of the ship was actually that the front section came off and was a pod, and as you might see, there are some like loose ends here. So if we turn on the engines and then turn off our merge blocks, we're away. Woo! So they all should work, but I probably forgot some piping here, so it's just 2 engines now. But you can see this working. This is the escape pod for the Consular class cruiser, which I really like. Like it's a play feature of the Legos and also from Space Engineers, and it's really stable because it's just this massive block that doesn't go anywhere unless you detach it. With of course a camera in front, because why not? Probably have to set that up as well. So we get out, and that was my tour of this ship actually. So we go to the last ship we have in this world, and let's go to that. Sort of more rounded. Yes, probably it was. I had to, like, the front should be a bit wider, a bit longer, but that gave this pod no space to actually be in. As you see, this is it. And also the merge block. Probably I will like replace this conveyor with some kind of connector. But I'm not sure yet, because it's really hard to fit another block in there, because it's going over this place. You see it, I'm already having trouble with the placement of it. It's right under here. So if I would do that, I need to let people go up here and panel this up. See? Okay, so that was this ship. I'm gonna leave it right here with some of the the new features. And on drop pods, I probably will add them, because there are actually escape pods on this ship. Currently I just have connectors there, so I can attach a LAAT to it. But that's like temporary, I guess. Just for playability, I'm not using any small ships. Yeah, compared to a picture, it should be right, because I'm using pictures for these ships. I'm actually using a complete grid in Photoshop. So I stretch the image or scale down the image so that each grid block is actually a representation of the block in Space Engineers. So I have them on scale for 2.5 meters per square. Alright, then on to the LAAT. Remember, this is a vanilla world, so again I'm not using any mods for this one, which gave me some like creative restrictions for the cockpit, so I just went with 2 of these fighter cockpits, meaning I can't access them from the inside. But that's a minor issue, and probably a non-issue for Space Engineers, as you always have your jetpack. So let's first see how this flies, and then we'll go to... Of course I break it. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. Like, small ships are so much more sturdier than large ships. Well, if the game wasn't made out of blocks, Jokotsi, I don't know how to pronounce your name, then they always would be perfect, as you just make a mesh render of a ship and import it, and that's probably something I would do if it was like something like Star Citizen or something, which is also a game I follow very closely. Let's see. it advertised that I'm showing my ships here again. Okay, so let's continue to go up to max speed again. You see the ship is slightly dipping down due to rotors being added, but once I go to full speed, we see that the ship is acting normal, as now the actual grids are merged, and also the timer blocks are not available anymore. So the only things that now work are the turrets and the guns. The doors are not, because who wants to get out when you're going at 104 meters a second, eh? Not me. Alright, joke it is. Alright, going back to the consular class cruiser, as then we get some reference of scale and position. Because being in a world, an empty world of space without any references, is always hard to orientate yourself in. So you also want a ship close by. So going there, max speed again, and then we just let our thrusters do the rest, slowing down, and we see it's like it's dropping out of hyperspace, but not really. Slowing down just enough so that we don't crash. However, one of the problems I probably have in the ship is with survival. Let's land this first. Although this ship is fully piped up, in survival it probably will not hold up, as it needs a fuel tank. Brr. Come on, where's this thing? Chung. Yes, and we're connected. So now we have stability over our ship, and I hope that stability does not impede our doors. So general overview, with the nose with a ground sensor, aka a ore detector. Two of the ball turrets that are in front are just regular turrets. Then we have the main missile launchers are here, which should have their loading base right here, but that's not space engineers, so it's just regular ones with some cargo space here and some detail. Then these will be air-to-air guns, or missiles actually. So yeah, they're supposed to be like tracking, so whatever, when it gets out, it will be. I know of the mod, I'm not using it at the moment, but these are the anti-air missiles, alongside with the lasers on the edge of the wings, which at this moment are just lasers. Antennas, of course. Well, laser is a laser, right guys? I guess. And then we have the back turret and our back hatch, which is not a hatch but just a panel. Because adding a rotor to this, I'd rather not. Having 6 pistons in a single build is already enough, and the rotors are still unstable enough that I don't want to use them. The doors, yes, I will show them. We have 26 people now watching. Welcome all to the stream, guys. I'm just here telling you about the geeky things I do. So the doors. Let's see. So these are loose doors, and I have a few timers set up. And how they work is you press a button and they open. So we have to open right bay and close right bay. So it's 2 buttons. And when I open it, it goes out and goes back. Same for the other one. Open, out and back. You can see I have a double piston to slide it back on top and a single one that extends it. So in that way they have some space to be actually sliding, and with the double ones I actually have enough room to get out of it. I first had these doors like only in this section of the ship, but according to blueprints it is actually almost full length of the ship, with only a small ridge here that holds the cargo door, and of course the bark speeders, which should be on top here, I guess, but I need a mod for that. I showed you guys well, I haven't shown it yet. Well, I uploaded a speeder bike recently, so that could go there. And to close the doors again, we simply press the other one, close the right one, it goes back, and then after a short while it slides back again. So again, left, there it goes, and there we go. That's a lot with closed doors and me standing inside of it. Mostly on full scale. Yes. How I think they should handle pistons is actually when they're not moving, just merge them with the grid. Like at this moment they're still moving, and I don't want that. I want them to be linked to the grid right now. So once you actually trigger them, then they will go to a separate grid and place the blocks that are attached in their new directions real time. After which they go back again to their like linked form. So we know how they handle it in max speed. Why not just at 0 speed and any speed, and only when you give the command they can shift. That's something I want to see. And putting this LAAT on workshop, well, probably. Maybe I'll like set up some scenes tonight with the ship, and well, because I want to upload a video with it, probably some kind of machinima. Maybe even with the acclimator again, so do some kind of rebuild of the first one I did. So I think 5 and 7, no. That one. So timer 6 at the moment is opening that one. Timer 7 is opening that one. We have a slight incorrectness, so probably it's a bit too wide or a bit too thin, so the ship starts nosing down. But it's only a slight nose down, and when we just attach it to, like say, with a landing gear, because there's a landing gear on the front of the ship. Let's see, let's go there, in proximity, no proximity, now, there we go. Now it's on solid ground and won't move, and the doors are open. So going back again, 5 to close that one, 8 to close that one, and it works all fine and dandy. Some of us have been unable to load your worlds. Yes, that's a good point. Probably because my worlds are really old, like they're a year old, most of them. In that way, maybe it's just outdated, like compatibility issues, but sometimes, of course, it's corrupted. I don't know. Some new mods, some old like mods being outdated, and that's why some of my uploads don't work anymore. And I am, of course, working on updating them all. As you see, I already uploaded a acclimator and a LAAT. but I'm rebuilding them now and retrofitting them. So please be patient, I don't have all the time in the world. Next to this, I am actually a game developer student. Today we just did a project on the VR, Oculus Rift, and the Gear VR, which is a Samsung Galaxy phone. And we did some programming and art work for that. Actually, next to this, in my working time, I am a 3D modeler. Could you believe that? But my portfolio is like student level, so nothing to show there, only in space engineers at this time. Speaking of which, probably I'll go model the ship I was working on now, as I was planning. And this will be a upload I'll do separately. So the stream will cut out for a bit, and then I'll be back with the Correlian Corvette. So, see you in 10 minutes, so I take a quick break.